All right. How are you, Manus?
All right, Tom.
How's everybody else doing out there tonight? Glad you could join us. Don't mind me. This is our first kind of solo broadcast. We did a couple. We did a night a few weeks ago with six or seven different acts for Blue's birthday, and that was a lot of fun. And I thought we could do this weekly, if possible, to continue the Irish Night of Blue music series that's been going on for the past 15 years or so. So looks like we got it figured out, at least for tonight. The internet is cooperating, and we have Manus here, Manus McGuire, live from Toongraney in County Clare, Ireland. He's going to play for us for a bit. We're going to do a little talking later on, and then Manus will play for a little more. I'm glad you could join us. There's links in both the Facebook and the YouTube comments for you to hit up Manus's PayPal and give him a donation. Let him know how much you like his playing. To be a second link in there for the venue Blue, which like all venues right now is having a hard time. But they're going to come out of this like we all are, and we'll all be together there again before too long. We hope back to having live music in person the way it should be. But in the meantime, this is a really good substitute. And how lucky are we to have Manus McGuire join us all the way from Ireland? So if you're ready, Manus, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks very much, Tom, and thanks for that very warm welcome. Delighted to be able to do this. It's not the real McCoy, as you know. I was supposed to be on tour. Uh, Ruby Hoy, my booking agent in the US, booked a May tour for me with Joseph Carmichael, and I was due to be in Portland, Maine tonight in any event. The tour was to have begun last Friday. Just by way of background to this, the tour was to have begun last Friday in St. Louis. Saturday, we were to be in Louisville, Kentucky. Sunday, Ann Arbor, Michigan. And then for the rest of this week, we were to be up in the New England territory. So Portland, Maine was tonight. Portland, Maine has very happy memories for me. I've played there twice in the past. First with Moving Cloud, and then second time with Brock McGuire Band. And on each occasion, we were in that venue, Center for Cultural Exchange. And I happen to remember the address because I was probably punching in the GPS on the van, One Longfellow Square. But tonight, I should be in 650, I think it is, Congress Street. And I want to thank the venue and Trey's there for making this all happen tonight. I want to thank a few other people as well, apart from Ruby Hoy, the booking agent. I want to thank my wife, Genevieve, who is very much a great help to me here on the IT side of things, and my son, young Manus McGuire, based in Manhattan. I also want to thank my brother, Seamus, and for helping me with sound. And I also want to thank Matt Purcell, who's been a great help in the last few days, just getting the right fiddle sound, or as near to as possible, the fiddle sound of what I really want. Zoom, I guess, was never meant to be just for fiddle players. I think it's much more a conference call thing, but we'll do the best we can tonight. As I say, Portland, Maine has very happy memories for me. I know lots of Irish musicians are playing there. Katie McNally and Neil Perlman. I met Katie a few years ago at the Swannanoa gathering in North Carolina and had a great week with her. She was teaching Scottish fiddle when I was teaching Irish fiddle for the week. Neil Perlman I met separately. I met him earlier this year. A lovely young man. I met him in Glasgow when he was up there with Kevin Henderson playing at Celtic Connections. And I was up there at the same time with my own group, the Copperplate Sessions team. And of course, Paul Wells is there, I know, in the Portland, Maine area. Paul Wells and his wife, Sally Summersmith. I first met Paul many years ago when he was director at the Popular Music Center, at Center for Popular Music in MTSU, Mid Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, just outside Nashville. And Paul is a great guy. I met Paul and Sally subsequently up in Boston when they were living there before they moved up to Portland, Maine. Liz, Kieran O'Hare and Liz Knowles, of course, from the group Open the Door for Three, are in Portland, Maine, I know. And Owen Marshall, again, a young man that I met a few years ago in Swannanoa, great guitar player. And I hope, Owen, that you're doing okay. I know you had trauma to your hand last year, and I was very sorry to hear that. But by the way, belated happy anniversary to you on your first wedding anniversary. So you've got a really good hotbed of music there in Portland, Maine, and that's fantastic. And I hope that as many of you who are watching tonight will continue to support the venue there. a venue like that that's promoting Irish music needs to be supported. So I'll open by playing 3 jigs, and I want to thank Maura O'Keefe for researching the names of these particular tunes. There was a set on the night on my set list that I wasn't quite sure of the titles of. Maura, many of you will know, is a fiddle player from County Kerry, but has been resident in Kinbarra, County Galway, about an hour north of where I am now, for many years. Maura sourced the tunes for me. The first one is called The Humours of Lisheen, which is a tune associated with the Slieve Lucra area on the Cork-Kerry border, and in particular with the fiddle playing of Dennis Murphy and Julia Clifford. The second one is called The Hag at the Churn, and the third tune is one of the many tunes that's associated with a great musician who came originally from County Limerick but lived most of his life in London, a man called Paddy Taylor. It's called Paddy Taylor's Jig. So The Humours of Lisheen, The Hag at the Churn, and Paddy Taylor's Jig. Hope you enjoy these. Okay, well, as Tom mentioned earlier to you, this is coming from my own music studio here in my home in Tuamgraney. Tuamgraney is about half an hour east of Ennis and a half an hour north of Limerick City, for those of you who know this part of the world. Many of you probably have been to the Willie Clancy Summer School in Milltown, Malbay. That would be about 1 hour west, directly west of where I am now. I'm over in East Clare. Tuamgraney and Scariff are pretty well side by side. And we're very near Killaloe as well, home of where Seamus Connolly grew up. I mentioned earlier on that this tour, I was to be joined on guitar by Joseph Carmichael, and Joseph is a young man, a fantastic guitar player from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Joseph regularly plays with a group called The Here and Now with Chris Buckley, Neil Fahey, and Rob Faulkner. and they're an Austin, Texas-based group. You should check them out. They're here and now. And in fact, Joseph has just a brand new solo album out, Desiderium. So it's worth checking out the music of Joseph Carmichael. And I'm so sorry that we never got to do this tour, but as I said earlier, we'll make the best of this now here tonight. I'm going to continue now by playing a selection of 3 hornpipes. These are tunes that are very traditional. They're being played for many, many years in sessions in Ireland and in the States. And I've been playing them since I was a young fellow. They're called the Taylor's Twist, Cronins and Sherwood Rangers. Okay, well, I'm going to change fiddles this time, and I'm going to play a slow piece of music for you. The fiddle that I was playing just now is in concert pitch, and that was made by a man called Ewan Thompson from the Shetland Islands. The fiddle that I'm going to play now is tuned a half tone down, and it's a lovely fiddle made by a Dutch fiddle maker called Mick de Huy, living in Dublin for many years now. And I'm going to play a slow piece, as I say. It's a piece that comes from West County Waterford, known as the Dacia country. It was written by a man called Padraig Ó Míleada. I suppose it means in English Patrick Melody. And he was a poet way back, I think it was over 100 years ago now. And he is from this area, Sliabh Gua, which means the piece of music is called Sliabh Gal Gua, to give it its full title, Sliabh Gal Gua Fela. So I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, so I'm going to change back fiddles again. And just a little note on that last tune, Shlee of Galgua. It's probably one of our best known emigrant songs and sung in the Sean-Nós tradition. And many of our songs are also played as an air. They're known as song airs, and that was one of our, as I say, one of our best known from West County Waterford, Shlee of Galgua. I'm going to play a selection of jigs this time. The first one has an interesting title, I think, but probably an impractical one for us tonight. It's called Have a Drink With Me. The second tune then is The Girls of Banbridge, then The Boys of the Town, and then finally The Tar Road to Sligo. The last two tunes have, I think, both been recorded by James Morrison, a great Sligo fiddle player. So 4 jigs for you here. Now I'm going to change fiddles again and go back to the fiddle tune down to play a slow piece for you. And this is a piece that was written by a man called Johnny McCarthy from Cork. He's a fiddle player and flute player. And he wrote this piece back in the early 1980s when he was living just outside Zurich in Switzerland. And he tells me that the area he was living in is called Kuschnacht, a suburb of Zurich. And at the time, he was newly married, and I think they had a newborn baby. So the title of the tune, Kuschnacht, he told me, is in German, means a kiss in the night. So I think he wrote that for his newborn child. Kuschnacht, a kiss in the night. And just to let you know as well, I further researched Kuschnacht, and it has an interesting story that many of the older Swiss residents have gone there to live in retirement. It's a very nice area, apparently. And one of its most famous residents is a lady born in Western Tennessee in Nutbush, near Brownsville in Western Tennessee, in November 1939. And none other than the rock and roll queen herself, a lady called Tina Turner. I'm not sure if Tina Turner would be very much au fait with Sligo fiddle music, but I'll probably have to revert back to Paul Wells for his advice on that one. But anyway, I'm going to play the tune for you. It's Johnny McCarthy's piece called Kuschnacht. Okay, well, this time I'm going to play a set of reels for you. And this is from my most recent album, The Copperplate Sessions. I think I mentioned that grouping that I had up in Glasgow in January with me. The Copperplate Sessions is the name of the last album, and this is the opening track from it. We call it the Copperplate Set of Reels. The first one is Bonnie Kate. The second one, The Hare's Paw. The third and fourth are the old and the new Copperplate Reels. And then finally, The Mason's Apron, or it's actually Michael Russell's version of the Mason's Apron. Michael Russell was one of the three Russell brothers from Doolin in North Clare, and he was a very good musician, as they all were. He played whistle, and this is his particular version of the Mason's Apron. So the Copperplate set of reeds for you, and I hope you enjoyed these. There you have the Copperplate set of reels, and as I said, they're from my most recent album called The Copperplate Sessions. And I have just let you see a copy of it here, and it's available on my website if you want to check it out. It's just simply manusmaguiremusic.ie, so www.manusmaguire, Maguire MCGOIRE, manusmaguiremusic.ie.
All right, what does everybody think so far? Let's have some virtual claps going on. We'll make this quick. Thanks, Manus. That sounded lovely.
Thank you, Tom.
But I don't think I need to spotlight myself for this. We can all be on here. Lovely playing, and Manus showed you a copy of his new CD, Copperplate Sessions. That's available now. I wish I had a link for that. I could have put it into the stream, but I didn't think of that ahead of time. But we'll see if we can put that in the next newsletter. I'll get Manus to send me where you can purchase that from and send it over. So, in case anybody doesn't know, this is Irish Night at Blue. We do this every Wednesday night. We took a little break for a couple months, and now we're back. I'm hoping to keep it going weekly until we can all be together again in person. That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that. I would love to be in blue right now, listening to this show from my usual seat in the corner with a nice pint of Guinness poured by Aislinn and a room full of people that I know and respect, and be able to shake Bannis's hand. Though I don't know that we can do that anymore anyway, but um, we're going to do our best to bring you some Irish music in this time. So um, please do what you can to support it and support everybody else that's out there. We all need to support each other right now. So I first met Manus years ago. I've told this story several times from the stage of Blue, but I'll tell it one more time. Uh, I took a job at the Center for Cultural Exchange, which is currently the same. It's the same venue that is now One Longfellow Square. Um, Back in the day, and they hired me to do the sound, and I had only kind of been a garage sound man up to that point in college, and I knew what I was doing, but not too much. And I walked in and got the job on like a Thursday, and on Friday they had me to come in and do sound for Moving Cloud, which of course, being an Irish band, had about 16 inputs and a bunch of crazy stuff going on. It was Manus and Maeve and a young baron player who named Kevin, who seemed to rise the ranks after that pretty quickly on the flute. Mr. Crawford started off as, he was primarily a baron player for you guys, right? I guess he played flute
Oh,
too.
yeah, but he learned the flute fairly fast as well, and he did well after that.
Yeah, he did okay. He
He
did
taught
okay
him
for
well,
himself.
Tom.
He's been to Blue several times. Um, and the funny part of the story is Kevin wanted me to use phantom power on the soundboard for his Bowron, which had a condenser mic on it that needed a phantom power. And I had never heard of that before in my life. So I said, "No, we don't have that." And then he kind of looked at me funny. And then after the show, he came up to the sound room and showed me where the phantom power switch was that I could have turned on. And I've seen him about 150 times since then. And he's never let me forget it since. But it's a pretty funny moment. So I never forgot where the phantom power was again. They were fantastic. And then later on, I think it was after we started One Longfellow Square.
That
Um,
group also had Paul Brock and Carl Hessian.
right.
That was the five piece band of Moving Cloud.
Brock McGuire band. Oh, that's right, yeah. But later on, we had Brock McGuire come in as well. Paul Brack, the wonderful accordion player, and Manus holding court. And then back in the day, Green Linen, I used to sit in a warehouse all day and listen to Buttons and Bows albums. A lot of people aren't so familiar with that these days. If you get a chance, go back and check out the old Buttons and Bows recordings with Manus and Seamus, his brother, on fiddles, and Jackie Daly, Gary O'Brien. Am I leaving anybody out?
No, that's the four piece Buttons
Yeah,
and Bows. And that group
fantastic
was
stuff.
actually formed back in 1982. Our first album was 83, and we've done 4 or 5 albums since then. The most recent one was only 3 years ago. It's available on buttonsandbowsmusic.ie if anybody wants to check that out.
Great. There you go. So, what was I going to say? I'm not going to announce anything. Next week, we're going to have another show starting at 7 p.m. It's going to be Steve Austin, who's a local old time fiddler, a great local old time fiddler, really one of the mainstays of the local old time scene here in Portland. He was on the schedule already to play in person, and he decided to keep the gig and go with it. So, we're going to immediately have a little deviation from our Irish repertoire. And then coming up after that, I think on June 3rd, we're going to have Will Woodson and Caitlin Finley, who were there pretty recently, but who agreed to do it. And we're always happy to have them back. They have a pretty big online presence, and we're hoping to have a nice day. Have a great new project out. I'm sure they'll talk about that. Some other things lined up after that as well. There's going to be, I'm sending out the newsletter, let you guys know, and I'll try and post this to whatever schedule I have on Facebook as well, so the Facebook people can see. We're going to try and broadcast these also on YouTube so that the people that don't want to join Facebook, I completely understand, don't have to. They can watch on YouTube. So as long as this works like it's working tonight, we'll keep doing it, and hopefully we'll get some people to sign up. If you're a musician and you're watching it and you want to do one, I could really use some people to sign up because folks have been reluctant, which I understand completely. And if we don't have one, we don't have one, but hopefully we'll fill the schedule up. So that's most of my spiel. Last but not least, the only way we pay the musicians down here at Blue is by passing around the bucket. You get the idea. I had to come up with a bucket. It's a long story, man. I'll tell you later. But it's a very Blue thing. So we don't have a bucket to pass around. I can't come around and lean over you and intimidate you with my awesome frame and presence and make you put money in there. But I can point you to the comment section in Facebook and YouTube where I've posted links for Manus's PayPal account. I would love it if you could go on there and drop them, whatever you can. No amount is too small, no amount is too big. Remember, if you saw this show in any other time or place, in a online venue that had to go to charge a cover charge, you'd be happy to pay 10, 20, or $100 for a show like this and walk away feeling good about yourself and life in general. You don't have to give that much, but let that be your guide. Give what you can, and please be generous. There's also a link in those places for Blue. It's a little weird to ask for donations for two different things. We don't really know how to do this yet. Blue is perfectly happy having you donate to Manus tonight for giving up his time and playing from his house. They are supportive of that, but I thought it'd be important to put the link in there for Blue as well. I know from talking to a lot of people and for myself as well, my lighting is terrible. I'm really sorry. That I really look forward to the day where we can all come back and meet up in Blue again. It's been a special place for me for the last 15 years, and I think for a lot of you as well. And I'm missing it more than I thought I would. I think, though I didn't see this one coming, but it's been a hard place to fill, hard hole to fill up. So we're gonna keep going. Please donate what you can to both if you can, and we'll get back in a few minutes. I'm gonna spotlight who wants to talk first, Therese.
You don't need to spotlight us. We're fine.
Okay, we'll leave you in here then. So Therese, anybody doesn't know, Therese is the owner of Blue, the venue. Aislinn up in the corner there, or actually down in the corner on Facebook, is our Irish Night bartendress. Is that correct? Bartender, I guess, is the right way to say that. And an excellent host for the evening, has been there for many years, and wouldn't be the same without her or without Therese, who gave us the opportunity in the first place. So take it away, Therese.
And Ace is much more to me, and the room, but as well as your friendly bartender. But she's definitely been as well as Lydia. But moving forward, Aislinn, my kind of right hand woman power person. But I just wanted to take a moment really to thank everybody for the Blue Fest. It was really special to kick off the night or the week with the Irish Night. It's a very special night for me. So thank you, Tom, for helping coordinating all of that. Really appreciate it. And all the donations that came in. It really meant a lot. And it just was a special week. But I do want to turn attention really quickly to NIVA, which Tom had mentioned earlier on. Really trying to have a uniform voice out there, paying attention to small independent venues, and reaching out to your legislatures to help save independent venues. So if you can go to the link that I shared on Irish Night at Blue, the live stream on there. If you're watching from a watch party, I can share it after, but that will send you their website to take action, save our stages, #save our stages. So take a moment to take action. That would be really great. And anything you want to add, Ace?
I mean, I love Irish Night as well, but going on to NIVA, I was just looking into it more today, and it's really true. Venues for businesses that were shut down, we were kind of the first ones to shut down, and we're going to be some of the last to open back up. So there are definitely completely different economic plans for those who have independent venues, and the structure is completely different for us and all the people that we support. So please look into it. It might be freezing soon.
Yeah, it affects a lot. It affects a lot of people and musicians as well.
But please support, and thanks for being here for Irish Night as well.
Yeah. Thanks to Tom. How about a huge round of applause for Tom? Everybody hit their like button or smash the
heart. Tom.
Oh, man.
And thank you, Manus. Really, really great hearing you.
You're welcome. I'm delighted to do this, and the very best of luck with your venue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, guys. It's great to see you. It's great to almost be back on Wednesday nights like we always have been. I just want to mention quickly this would not be possible without the excellent assistance of Mr. Alden Robinson, my IT guy, which I'm sure he hates me saying that, but Alden had the patience to sit through with me figuring this out, and really was give me some key advice to make it happen. He got some of that advice originally from Mr. Neil Pearlman, so thanks to Neil as well.
Okay, good.
And it looks like it's working pretty well. It sounds okay, and everything's pretty cool. So
Well, that's good to know.
we're going to keep trying. I'm going to try and update the links right now on both YouTube and Facebook with those donation links. So please give generously whenever you can. Come back and see and really watch any live concerts you can, streaming concerts. This is how we're going to support the arts and some venues and all that stuff for the time being. Hoping somebody grows up and takes charge of this situation in the world, and maybe we can all be together again soon. But for the time being, let's do what we can to help each other out. I miss you all,
Yes.
and we hope we see you all soon.
Me too.
I'm gonna go back. Are you ready, Manus?
Yeah, I'm ready, Tom. Yeah, ready to go.
Come back next week for Steve Austin.
Have a good-
Goodbye, Therese. Goodbye, Ace. Don't drop out of the video so I can spotlight Manus, please.
Oh, we're
Bye.
not. We're not.
And
Thank you for your lovely
we're just
words.
gonna mute and hide us.
Okay.
okay. And we'll see you soon, folks. Look up for the newsletter and look for updates on Facebook. And we're going to finish up the show now. We got plenty more to go from Mr. Manus McGuire, one of my favorite fiddlers, one of the finest fiddlers in the Irish tradition. So take it away, Manus.
Thank you, Tom. Well, you mentioned there when you were speaking a little while ago about the group Buttons and Bows, and I'm going to play a piece now that Buttons and Bows recorded on their album Grace Notes. It's 2 barn dances. I haven't played any barn dances yet tonight, so I'm going to play 2 of those. The first one is called the Chaffpool Post. Chaffpool is a small little townland outside Tubbercurry in South County Sligo. And the second one is called Bell of the Ball. So 2 barn dances. Okay, now the next tune I have for you is a selection of jigs, 2 jigs. The first one is an old piping tune called The Black Rogue, and the second tune is a tune written by another Sligo fiddle player, a man called Michael Gorman. He lived between 1890 and 1895, I think it was, and 1970, but lived most of his life in London, England. But he wrote a beautiful 6-part jig, and I'm going to play it for you. It'll be the second tune in the set. It's called The Stray Away Child. So the Black Rogue and the Stray Away Child. Okay, so there you had the Black Rogue and the Strayway Child. And next up on the list, I'm going to change the fiddles again to the lowercase fiddle. And I'm going to play a slow piece that was written by West Cork fiddle player, a lady from Bandon in West Cork called Nolly Casey. And she wrote this tune many years ago. It's called Lisnabon Riana, which literally means the fort of the fairy queen. It's a beautiful air. Nolly subsequently recorded the air with her husband, Artie McGlynn, on their album Causeway. And we were very sorry to hear of Artie's passing last December. I was in Melbourne, Australia at the time on tour, and the guitar player with me that night, Jeff MacArthur from just outside Melbourne, we were just going on stage when we heard about Artie's death, and we were so sorry, as all the Irish music community were. In fact, that night we played this tune on our set list, and you can imagine the emotion of that particular occasion. Most of the people in the audience were very familiar with the music of Artie McGlynn, and it got a great response that particular night, this tune. But as I say, we were so sorry to lose Artie. But the tune is by Nolly Casey, his wife, written by Nolly, and it's a lovely piece. I'll play it for you. Lisnabon Riana. Lisnabon Riana by Nolly Casey. And I should mention to you that I've just recorded that piece, and we've told Nolly about it. I've recorded the piece with a group that I play with who are Scottish based, a group called Full Tilt. And that features Gemma Donald from Shetland on fiddle with me, Gemma Donald and myself on fiddles, Alan Small on accordion, and another Shetlander, Brian Nicholson, on guitar and vocals. So the group is called Full Tilt, and that album we recorded it on a live album tour of Scotland there at the end of last year. Scotland and Orkney. And so we'll be releasing that album later this year. So look out for that. The website for the band is www.fulltilt.band. So now I'm going to play a piece that was written by another Sligo fiddle player. This man was born in County Sligo in a place called Bonanadden in South County Sligo in 1913. He emigrated to London in the mid-30s, and then he moved to the United States in about 1948, I think it was. He first of all went to Buffalo, upstate New York, and then he went down to the Bronx and settled there in 1948. Of course, arriving in New York in 1948, as he did, he just missed Michael Coleman and James Morrison. Coleman had died in 45, and James Morrison died in 47. But he did get to play with, to meet and play with fellow Sligo men, Paddy Killorn and Lad O'Byrne, amongst others. And I was very fortunate to meet Martin Wynne on my very first trip to the United States back in 1977. And I got a chance to meet him at his own apartment in the Bronx and have a few tunes. So that was a great honor for me to meet Martin Wynne. He wrote some great tunes that are widely played by musicians all over the world. And this is one of his tunes called Martin Wynne's Number 3. And then after that, I'm going to play The Pinch of Snuff and then a tune called Music in the Glen. Now I'm going to play, we're coming towards the end of the program, but I have two more numbers to do. The next one I'm going to play again on the low fiddle. It's a slow piece. And this comes from this is a composition of a man called Peadar Ó Dornaín, who is an 18th century poet and harper. And this is one of the song airs from the Oriel tradition. And when you hear about Oriel tradition in Ireland, it normally refers to North County Louth and South County Armagh. And that's where this man was from, Peadar Ó Dornaín. And it's a beautiful old air. It's called Urkna Céim de Concha. And I should mention at this point that for those of you who want to get back to me for the names and the titles of these, because it's very hard on the Zoom to understand probably some of the pronunciation, especially the Irish pronunciation words. I'm very happy to send my set list copy to you by email if you want to just get back to me on that, no problem. So the piece is called Urkana Cain the Concha by Peadar O'Donoghue. Okay, so now we're at the last number, and just before I finish up, I want to thank Tom Rota very much, and I want to thank Therese and all the staff at the venue there, the Blue, the Irish United Blue in Portland, Maine, so much for making this project happen. Thank you very much to all of you, and to Ruby Hoy, the booking agent for me on this tour. Joseph Carmichael was to be with me, but the tour never happened for obvious reasons. I want you all to stay well, do the best you can for each other at these difficult times. And hopefully, as Tom said, and many people have said it, hopefully we'll get to play music live again, which is the way it should be. I'm going to leave you with another set from the Copperplate Sessions album. And if you do want to get a copy of the album, it's on, as I say, www.manusmaguiremusic.ie. You'll be able to get straight onto the PayPal section there and the album, and I send them out next day to anybody who wants a copy. So I'm going to play a piece from that album now. Jenny and I very tragically lost our eldest son, Stephen, when he was just 18 years of age. He was studying at the University of Limerick, which is only a half an hour from here, and he was studying business studies, and he died very suddenly from meningitis overnight. And I wrote this tune in memory of Stephen. It's called Stephen's Dream. And then I have four reels after that: The Blackberry Blossom, Maud Miller, Malloy's Favourite, and Miss Thornton. So I hope you enjoy these, and I hope you enjoyed the concert overall. I was delighted to do it. It was a challenge with the sound and to get everything right, but I hope it'll work out, and I hope you're able to. I can only go by what you say at the other end. Everybody's Wi-Fi and broadband is different. I know all that, and as I said, I hope that you got some satisfaction from it, and that the music took you away from all the terrible things that are happening just even for 1 hour. So good night to you all. Stay well, and just leave you with three words: believe, hope, and love. Bye bye for now. Thank you. Good night, and thank you.
All right. Once again, big thanks to Manus McGuire. Manus, you want to stick around for a second? I'll cancel the live stream and say goodbye to you.
Okay.
I'll work on my lighting for next week, folks. So you're not so quite so creepy. But thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Not too late to share the page, pass the video around, and learn some tunes from Manus when you get a chance. And pick up his new CD, Copperplate Sessions, wherever you get a chance. Hopefully, we'll all see you again soon. Be safe and be good. And we'll talk to you. We'll see you next week for Steve Austin, Old Time Fiddle, 7 p.m. next Wednesday, the 27th. Everybody have a good night.
Good night, and thank you. Thanks again, Tom.